I'm back, everybody. Had a little bit of a hiccup there in the power, but we're back. Okay, let's bring us back to what we were looking at. I believe we were looking at basic attention token. No, we're looking at ZRX. So again, ZRX, the area that it's trading up against is a pretty strong one. You might even say that there's a case for an inverse head and shoulders pattern here. It's probably not as evident on the 4 hour as it is on the 1 hour, but we definitely have a case for that here where this inverse head and shoulder is really just part of a bull flag. And I mean, it's very, very common to see that happen. If you see an inverse head and shoulder pattern form inside of a pattern like a flag like this, that's really what we've got going on here, a bullish flag, then that is something to take note of and pay attention to, because it really increases the probability of a breakout. Because the breakout of a flag pattern is, it's clearly defined what it is. It's a breakout of that. You want to break above those highs, and the breakout of a inverse head and shoulder pattern is a break of the neckline, which is, these are going to be pretty shared value areas. But if this is going to be the the pattern that we're looking at, being a little generous there, then we should see a pretty nice opportunity to bust above that zone. All right. The other, got to get everything pulled back up here. Oops. That was that trade. So we did ZRX at 11,444, still working out. Then Walton Chain. If we take a look at that one, trading at 322, that was the Bitcoin pair we wanted to look at. Where'd you go? Why am I not seeing you? Oh, there we are. So Walton Chain, the entry I was looking for was on the 4 hour chart and looking at a pullback to the baseline, which is exactly what we have happening here. So we wanted that pullback down here, which is at that 36.76. I must have meant 46.76. Right? Where's that at? Yeah. Not the baseline here, but yeah. So, anyways, the pullback to the baseline is what we were looking for. And it did pull back, and it has responded off of it, held it as support. That's a pretty good sign, especially when you get kind of the first test of the baseline after breakout. I don't know if there's been studies on the what the statistics are on it, but off the top of my head, it often is a very strong first support level. So that's worked out nicely. Litecoin, really not a lot to write home about here in Litecoin, because it just hasn't really moved. We were looking at a long at 59.05, which we have not gotten. We're looking at a break above this current structure here. Pretty easy place to identify. Nano wanted to go long at 32.83. We are currently above that zone. We're approaching some interesting areas here. So this long-term downtrend line we're approaching in time. We've consolidated and gotten stuck here. Now we're up against a new pivot in time. And this should act as a pretty strong launching point above this zone here. Really nice entry in a crypto that's so it's overperforming the market on a 3-month basis, but it's underperforming on everything else. So the on a monthly and a weekly, it is underperforming. It's not doing very well. It is just lagging everything and everybody. And so we should expect it to do something like Walton Chain did. This should be a big percent gainer if and when we do get that breakout going into the next few days here. Waves, very unfortunate trade. So I had a trade in on Waves, and I left it because I saw better opportunities. And actually, that opportunity that I moved it over into Nano, actually to get into a Nano breakout, but that did not pan out. And actually, the Waves position I had would have been way better because we'd like to get in at 3304, which is above this zone, but it was trading around the bottom here, not finding any new lows. And I thought, okay, this is getting pretty tight range here. This is going to blow up one way or the other. And it was unfortunate. OMG was another one we were taking a look at. Where are you at? OMG. 350. Okay. The BTC pair. 535 was the entry we wanted. It has reached up there, but it hasn't moved anywhere. I mean, when we look at the volume here, the volume has been increasing as we've been consolidating. If we look at the volume bars, there are strong selling bars there. But there's not a lot of follow through with price action. So there's probably just a lot of short term, small time frame profit targets being taken here, maybe some stops being hit, but otherwise really not seeing any new structural lows forming. And yeah, just not a lot happening there. Then EOS, where are you at? EOS 592. I mean, we've been we've been pretty stuck here, and we wanted to take a long trade at 597. We barely got there. Got to 596.20. So within 2 thousandths of a move, we got there. But it's setting up for a breakout here on the 4-hour. I mean, you can see this right here, that it is wanting to get into the condition for a big breakout. It's a pretty standard bull flag, folks. I mean, you can trade a lot of things in the market, and continuation patterns like bull flags and bullish pennants and bearish flags and bearish pennants, I mean, those are very, very low risk to reward trades. And depending on the time frame you're trading, you can catch some pretty nice moves. I mean, these are flags and pennants are classic scalping patterns that people like, because you have a set buy target and then you have a set sell target, and usually it's almost like you're front running the order book when you're doing this. But it's a really nice way to trade. If you're not comfortable taking positions based on like head and shoulders patterns or anything, trade a continuation pattern. Get comfortable trading those continuation patterns, because the more you do it, the more you'll know for yourself. Instead of it's difficult to take somebody's word for it when you've tried trading it and you leave it because you're nervous. The more you trade a continuation pattern, like a pennant or a flag, the more you find them to work, the more comfortable you'll be trading them, and the more you'll be able just to kind of innately know when it's going to work or if it's not going to work. There is a gut component that goes into it. I know that's anathema to a lot of people to say use your gut, but I think it's foolish not to. So EOS, that was it. So those are our trades yesterday. So again, let's do a little quick rundown because I got disconnected there. Looking at Bitcoin. Not in this one. Bitcoin, I mean, we're just continuing to ride this trend up here. There's really no deviation from it. It's continuing to do this move. Ethereum is very much the same way. And in fact, we may be having that swing low met where we're going to see it trade higher again. Yeah, just a lot of the market is showing a lot of strength. If we pull up the cryptos, actually, we can just do it in the screener. If you're unfamiliar, there's TradingView has a pretty damn awesome screener. Now, I tell you what, this is probably one. If you like to trade stocks, TradingView has a pretty nice. It has a pretty nice looking screener set up here for the 3-month, the monthly, and the weekly charts. And so, what we have, hold on one second. I think contractor's trying to get hold me for 1 sec. What's up? Okay. If we take a look at the screener, and we can look at like the monthly performance. So here's the 3-month performance: Bitcoin Diamond, Pi, Bitcoin Diamond. I mean Z Classic. Lots of underperformers for the entire 3 months. Then it gets a little better once we start to see the monthly performance, weekly performance. And then we can look at the monthly performance of the entire market. So whatever MDA, MODA loyalty points, the Ethereum pair is up 400%. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's anything. Genesis, Odyssey, Aaron, DMark, Vibe. Vibe. This is a classic pump. But yeah, I mean, you just see a pretty strong push in a lot of these altcoin pairs that have actually been in a sustained drive for the last 3 months. Okay, that should be telling you something. So I had written in another article, I think it was the one I wrote yesterday, that one of the signs of an impending breakout in a market is after it's been in consolidation, you typically see. So we looked at Bollinger Band squeezes. What'd you say? And in a Bollinger squeeze, we have the conditions of right here. Oh, see, this. Oh my God, this is great. This is called a false breakdown. Oh, this is sexy. There's a squeeze. This is on the 4-hour chart, but there was a squeeze. It expanded, came down again, hit the bottom of the bands, but we were already in and nearing these levels that were in the composite index. At least they were in some historical low settings. So that the bounce was pretty evident. But if we look at it on the daily, yeah, the daily is a pretty responsive bounce from there too. That's interesting. So if you remember Bollinger Bands, as you know, they really tip us off to consolidation. One of the things that you'll see in a lot of markets that they precede a crash and they precede an expansion, and it's the involvement of capital in speculative areas. Okay, so it's people who are going full risk on is what we're saying. So when you see, a lot of activity in the altcoin market, this is going to sound weird, but Bitcoin in cryptocurrencies is the safest, and it is not a risky asset in cryptocurrencies. If we're looking at cryptocurrencies as its own little microcosm, and Bitcoin being like the standard of the industry, it's the least at risk for big moves down. Even though compared to everything else on the planet, it is still at risk. But there are things in cryptocurrencies that are way more riskier than Bitcoin, and that is the altcoin market, okay? So, and including Ethereum, okay? Ethereum is included in there. So when you have a lot more market participants putting money into risk on things like altcoins, that's a good sign that you are going to see some increased volatility and movement in the market. And when people are risk on, that means they're getting bullish. They are anticipating higher prices. And then eventually the slower movers get picked up, and that is when you see movements in Bitcoin. Additionally, we could be setting up for a condition, which I would love, where we may not, I've not talked about this a lot, we may not see Bitcoin actually do 1,000% gains ever again. Okay? We may be in a condition where we're setting up, where we may get some big swings here, but where we actually get over a period of years a kind of an equilibrium set with Bitcoin, because it will be the standard of currency for trading, which it already kind of is. So what that means is that we'll have a stable coin, quote unquote, with Bitcoin, and then we'll have a market that is like not so correlated to Bitcoin anymore, but what you're searching for is individual charts like we've been doing already, where Bitcoin has stabilized the price, but then everything else has its own bull and bear phases. So that would be a kind of a good thing, and something to look forward to, I think. But I mean, anyways, the the move over the day here is just recovery mode from the thrust down last night. Really, we've been trading down here for the last couple days and forming another higher low, and recovering pretty nicely. When you close below the Bollingers and then you see that it's not closing a few candlesticks later, it's evidence of a false break. And what's really interesting is this candlestick right here. I'm looking at Coinbase's. Maybe I should look at Bitstamps. That's kind of the same story. Actually, Coinbase showing more volume, but sitting right here on that 20-day average in the Bollinger Band, slightly above it really. And I mean, it looks like it wants to do a broad recovery. What I did want to show was on Motive Waves software. I can pull it up here. And yep. Allow. Getting there. Oh my God, the Dow. We're talking about Bollinger Bands last couple of days. This is a sign of something you do not want to go long on. When Bollinger Bands are doing this. I usually don't want to follow that on the 4 hours. NASDAQ. S&P futures. Oh, beautiful. Gotta love that. All right. This is the... I don't know why it does that. I don't know. Ethereum's chart is really funky. Like it doesn't draw the troughs for some reason until it gets... I mean, it's like you gotta put it on lower time frames first, and then they just disappear. Duh. Well, regardless, these two closest downtrend lines. So we've got there's the 18 purple line is the 18-day, and then the blue is the 40-day, and we're really close to breaching that. Those two lines have been acting as our final two areas of resistance. We've already moved beyond the longer time period areas of resistance. Now we just got the short-term ones to cross above. I mean, and so like an entrance there is really, I'd say a break above here though. I mean, 241. is where I'd have a buy stop in for Ethereum. I don't have any Ethereum at the moment, but I mean, that's a trade setup. I wanted to look at Bitcoin though. Bitcoin, there's a steeper and more clear example here. The 80-day trend is the teal line here. So that's this teal line here to this teal line. So the 80-day trend line and triangle has already been broken, and now we're drifting out of the 40-day trend line as well. So we're above the downtrending 40-day. We're sitting right on top of the uptrending 18-day or 20-day, and we're just above it, folks. I mean, this is like 6845, 6800 is a hard area to get to right now, but because that is the confirmation of the breakout. I mean, and this level right here, this is probably the most important. This is the 20-week trend line, this downtrend line here. It's the 20-week. That is the one that we really want to get above more than anything, and it's just above us here. I mean, if we want to be as exact as we can from this present level, that is at 66, 67. So that 666 level is where it needs to get to cross above. I tell you what, these ranges are just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And I mean, I really don't know what else to say other than it's just a waiting game. It is literally a waiting game here. So but this is a good sign when you're looking at this on the daily and you see such a positive response from the buyers when it tried to move lower. Okay, this is kind of like this is a good example of people testing. Okay, they're testing the levels. Was there enough people that wanted to go short? Absolutely not. There was no interest in going lower here. This is very interested in moving higher, and this bounce last night is clearly evidence of that. In fact, when we're looking at the volume as well, look at the volume compared. I mean, we still have about 5.5 hours left before this daily candle closes, but we're above the volume from yesterday. We're above the volume from the day before. This is the highest volume we've traded in the past. It's got to be in the past. I want to say this is even ever since, all month. So in the last 10, 11, 12 trading days, this is the most volume that we've seen. And so far on the daily, this is looking pretty supportive because we've had such strong buying pressure. Now, the day is not over yet, and that could change. What does the 12-hour look like? Yeah, 12 hours kind of showing that as well. Tons of volume there. That was all on the overnight session. Overnight US session, that is. 4-hour chart closes in an hour and 25. Looking pretty nice there. If there's anybody who's been sitting short up here and up here, they're probably not feeling very good. Check out Ethereum's chart. A little less of a move, but still showing that we could get a nice bullish 4-hour candle there. Cardano as well. There's just a lot of these altcoins are catching bids. Damn it, Waves. Break my heart. Waves moving nicely. Walton Chain not. Walton Chain, no, it's moving okay. ZRX, that's my baby. That is wild. ZRX is on fire. It just wants to move higher. I mean, there's no other way to debate the direction that wants to go, and it is higher. This is not trading like a normal kind of like a pump and dump coin like Ripple. it's behaving very much like a growth and value instrument. So something to pay attention to. And there again, there's a clear breakout up here, looking at 1788. Let's take a look at everything on the cloud real quick and see what we've got. All right, let's start off with Litecoin. Litecoin on the daily chart, still inside the cloud, below the base in the conversion. That's kind of ugly. 4 hour, that's pretty awesome looking. The hourly, kind of meh. Looking at this trend line right here, I mean, we could more than likely, do a safe trade entry on the 4 hour or the 1 hour. But looking at the 4 hour, I'd like to see price, get above the conversion, the base, and the bottom of the cloud. So that'd be looking at that 58.78. So it's kind of lowering the target from yesterday. Four-hour Ichimoku, price above conversion, base, and bottom of cloud, which is span B, or span A rather. Cardano. On the daily, looking like a strong continuation pattern. Yeah, I mean, it's showing near breakout levels. So on the 4 hour, it return above the conversion line up here. That would be the entry. I could just say 1300 even is really the ADA BTC long at 0.413. 4 hour Ichimoku. That would be price above conversion. Also breakout of the bullish flag. Okay, got that. Basic attention token. That's some deliberate movement right there. That is a pretty nice move that we see. Daily, I like that we got into here on the daily and that we've tried to trade down below the cloud, but the bottom of the cloud has held its support so far. I think that is something to be considered a strong support zone. 4 hour, looking here, and not much going on. 1 hour, not much. We'll see. IOTA kind of got beat up a little bit. Looks to be recovering a little. IOTA on the daily. Okay, that could be indicative of a breakout here. The 4 hour looking like it might be pretty nice. So the 1 hour's got a pretty clear path here for a long trade. That's at IOTA dollar pair at 60 even. Long at 0.60. 1 hour Ichimoku. That's what we're looking for. Perfect setup on an hourly chart for a long trade is when, or really on any Ichimoku chart, when price is above the cloud, then lagging span should not be far behind. But whenever the lagging span breaks the cloud, that is the trigger for the trade. Okay. If you ever want to know, let me SMA. No, I want the moving average. Moving average, we'll do 200 period. So a 200-day moving average is generally what people use to determine what the overall trend is. So if price is trading below the 200, that is a bear market. Usually there's a 50-day too. That's what Wall Street does. But here's the thing. If you wait to go long based on a moving average, you've already missed the boat. I don't know of another system that can get you into it as safely and as early in a trend change as possible than the Ichimoku system, because on a daily chart with the Ichimoku, when prices cross the cloud, very rarely do they just kind of move and snap back down. It's not like looking at it at a 4 hour and 1 hour. You don't often see prices, dick around the cloud. Okay, once it breaches the cloud above or below, and then the leg, it doesn't like go back to where it was generally. And that is especially true whenever you see the lagging span break a cloud on a daily chart. That is that is one of the most definite trend change confirmation trades that you could ever take. I mean, trying to find bottoms is risky, but the Ichimoku system is I think the easiest way to figure it out. I mean, because you can just look. Because all you really have to do is look at a daily chart and say, okay, still bearish. Yeah. So, but really not, because we're flattening out. Okay, so IOTA, we have that trade. Nano. Nano's kind of being a punk. Probably have to put the buy up a little higher for it to, because it's just doing the range thing. So we might have to be looking at a 33.91 entry. I mean, I'm still holding mine with a little loss on it, but 339 1 hour Ichimoku. Price and lagging span above cloud. One change. XLM. Okay. Really need the lagging span just to get above price action there. And then here's that 200-day moving average. 4 hour. Yeah, we'll see. Ripple. Yeah, we'll see. ZEC. No, ZRX. I mean, ZRX is just a... Ooh, ZRX breaking out on the daily there. Interesting. Very interesting. See what prices do when lagging span hits the cloud. Probably be a stopping area. But, yeah. I mean, they've got some trades in there. I mean, folks, this is, I mean, I don't have anything profound to tell you about this market other than it is just a ho hum wait. It's very much is just a hurry up and wait. It's don't really know how else to describe what to do. The congestion is so tight, and it's literally just a waiting game. I mean, once we get our first crazy bullish expansion move, then we'll have a lot more to talk about. Then we'll be able to do like a crap ton of pullback trades, and then that's when the Ichimoku system is going to shine. We'll have clear. I could comfortably give out profit targets and pullback targets, and it'll be a trader's paradise. It really will. Trader's paradise sounds like a shady consignment shop. But yeah, it's a pretty nice, pretty awesome setup we've got going on here. And really just we're very, very close to that bust away. It's so close. Um, yeah, it's just gotta wait. That's all we got to do. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, kind of cut it off a little early here. Don't want to waste your guys' time. Again, hope you guys have had a good week so far. It's very possible that by the time we talk tomorrow, this thing will be outside in outer space, or it'll be in hell. One way or the other, leaning towards the up and outer space. Just a lot of price activity. Yeah, patience is the name of the game. Definitely is. A lot of activity that was going on between when we got done talking yesterday and then into the late night. I was up late watching that price action. Because at midnight and 2 a.m. Central Standard Time, we're getting, that's before the London Open, and when the London Open happens, there's generally a lot of action to push around that market, and it could have pushed it lower. I mean, the European market traders and bots, they could have very easily pushed the market lower from that congesting triangle. Okay, I mean, if there was a time to do it, it was then. And if there was a time for people who really wanted to go short and get in on that trade early, because it was outside of the triangle for a little bit, that was a time to do it. But now there's just clearly no... I mean, I think the supply is just kind of dried up because there's been so much accumulation at this level. So... yeah, I mean, this is going to be pretty exciting. Can't wait to see what happens the rest of the time. But yeah, we've got some trade ideas in there, and you guys have a good rest of your trade day. Have a good rest of your trade week. Forex Lens, folks. I'll see you in the morning at 7:30, and the rest of you, I'll see you tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. Have a great day. Bye bye.